What's up, folks? I'm flying. I'm in creative. So this is going to be the first creative stream. Every other stream has been in a survival world, my forever world, and primarily Astraea, which is an SMP. But today we are going to be working on a creative build. Basically, we're working on my next mini game. So I already brought a game called Scootboard to the Astraea server, which is essentially shuffleboard with armadillos as pucks. But now I'm working on a classic 80s revival, I guess, bringing into Minecraft. I'm not the first person to bring this into Minecraft. However, I think I'm the first person to bring it in how I'm planning on bringing it in. Everybody else retextures a bunch of things or customizes a bunch of things or, does a bunch of trickery basically to bring this game in. So if you recognize, well, let me first get orientated. If you recognize the board, then you are among the prized few that are very, very, hey Stormy, thank you for joining. You are among the prized few. Well, maybe I'll give you guys a second to see if you do recognize this board, but this is a classic level. It's typically shot from top down, and you are a little guy that's going around eating stuff. So it's Pac-Man. So yes, just like Etho brought Frogger into Hermitcraft via Ravager Rush, I am going to bring Pac-Man into Hermitcraft, but I am not Hermitcraft, I wish. No, I'm going to bring Pac-Man onto Astraea. Hey Mojo, nice to have you on the stream. Yeah, so Pac-Man is my inspiration. Obviously, I'm going to have to Minecraftify the attributes of Pac-Man because I can't. I'm going to try to make it as vanilla as possible. Long story short, so we don't have ghosts. We do have very similar with gas, but there's going to be no gas involved. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use Zombified Piglins for the ghosts. And I'm going to use drops for the pellets. I'm going to use a Smite 5 sword with strength beacons that are right down here. Strength regeneration and what is the other one? Health or something? I can't even remember. What is it? Whoops! Didn't mean to break those. It's strength. Well, speed, strength, and regeneration resistance. That's what I was looking for, and resistance. So those will kick on when you pick up a golden axe. I'm choosing a golden axe because it has the lowest durability. So I want the power up, just like in Pac-Man, to not last for a significant amount of time. So I think with a golden axe, you have 32, I don't think I know, because I looked it up. You have 32 durability, which actually you can only kill like 6 to 8 piglins with it. But with Smite 5, Strength 2, and all the rest of this stuff, you can basically just one-shot kill all the piglins that are running around. So yeah, that is the game in a nutshell. Essentially, you as a player will run around picking up items that were dropped on these lamps. You'll see all these these copper bulbs rather. And you're going to run these items into a hopper. The hopper is going to count up all the items and then dispense more as soon as you clear an entire board. And then you're just going to rinse and repeat until you can take down or just see how far you can last, essentially. Very similar to Frogger, with Ravager Rush, very similar to Pac-Man. It's essentially an infinite game. You just play until you die, because at a certain point you're going to die. You go in here with no armor. You go in here with no food, so you'll either starve from running around and won't be able to sprint any longer, or a piglin will get the best of you or what have you. But 4 zombified piglins will drop in the center. They're already going to be angry at you because in order to enter the game, you have to smack one of the piglins. And you drop in right here. This is the typical Pac-Man start, this block right here. And then you run around with your golden axe. Here, I'll just demo it, actually. I'll just demo exactly how it works, just so you can get a feel. So Right now, I'm obviously I have the board, I have the beacons, but these aren't, obviously they're not powered by anything. Why aren't they on, actually? These should be on. Oh, it's because I block this. Of course, of course. I was working on a teleportation tunnel, so right now, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place a little bit, but yeah, this teleportation tunnel, I was thinking about using ender pearls, but I think as soon as I give a player an ender pearl, all hell will break loose, so to speak. So what I did instead is you fall down on a slime block, you run to this side, and then you push this button, you pop back up. I know in the real Pac-Man, ghosts can also teleport. Ghosts can also walk through the teleportation. In this case, I think I'm going to actually leave it just player only. It just makes it simpler. I was debating on mine carts being your teleportation device, but with the way I have all this configured down here, the mine carts ended up being a little too confusing, I guess, is lack of a better term. Not to mention you have to have one return or one back. But anyway, I'm rambling. These beacons should be on, but I covered it up with this little guy and the train and the rail track. So I'm gonna have to move the beacons. No big deal. That should not be an issue whatsoever because the beacons have plenty of room to cover the entire board. Anyway, let's demo it really quick. So enchant itself. Let's do smite. So it'll basically be this. This will be your weapon of choice, and then you'll get or you'll be against rather 4 Zombified Piglins, because that's the 4 ghosts, basically imitating the 4 ghosts. You'll drop here, so let's just change our game mode to survival. They're already kind of running around, but just picture that they're all kind of nested here, and then, oh geez, if I hit this one, it's gonna kill me. And okay. Oh geez. Oh geez. Oh geez. So you're running around, and then you get your power up. You know. So you got your power up. So you decide I am going to take on these guys, and this is actually without smite or without strength 2 or regen or health or anything like that. So yeah, pretty easy to knock them out. With strength 2, you can typically do it in one hit without too much effort whatsoever. So that is how. Did I have the okay, I have an exit thing that these guys fall out of. Where is the other guys? Did they actually fall down in the center? I haven't plugged that up yet. Oh, yep, they have. Okay. I'm gonna plug this up with a trapdoor. So that's a really quick and dirty version of it. Should be pretty fun. They do get on top of you way faster than you would imagine. So I've been killed just testing this game many times. So yeah, Stormy. I think it is going to be fun. It's going to be very fast, action paced, and what have you. All right, real quick, what I've done so far. So far, if you have Zombified Piglin in the area. At the end of a level or at a player death, I want to clear these guys out and reset them with new ones, just in case a player injured these guys or, did something along those lines. So I have this little system that opens up 2 blocks with a turtle egg, so they're attracted to a turtle egg and then they fall to their death. I still have to fix the fall to make sure that they die, but essentially, upon the end of a level, both of these 2x1 doors, 1x2 doors will open, and then I'll clear out the Zombified Piglin, and then I'll drop more through this chute into the center. I'm debating on whether I should do what do you call it? A fence gate right here, so they can kind of stay locked until your player drops in. I may not. It just depends on the timing of things. So if all 4 Zombified Piglin fall through this chute at the exact same time that you fall in, I don't really think it's that big of a deal if they just start walking out, because that's the start of the game regardless. So I've done that so far. I've also done a clear out, so if you have an item, a bunch of items basically, which will come from these dispensers. The snow is there to align the item so the item lands right directly in the center of these lights. But when you want to clear it out at the end of this game, you'll essentially power this block, which will send a minecart through. The minecart will clear out all the items that are floating around to make sure that, you know, there's nothing else left so a new player can start the game. And that is basically all I've accomplished. Obviously, I laid out the board, I laid out all the dispensers. They are not populated with any items yet, and I laid out the little teleportation tunnel. But that's about it. Let's take care of these guys. I did a little command block with a piglin kill, essentially. Actually, I think it has an entity kill in general, so it probably, yeah, it deleted that minecart as well. Okay, so what are we working on today? What we're working on today is the kill mechanism. So basically, when you kill a piglin, I want another piglin to come down the chute. So this entire chute is going to be connected to a nether portal, and I'm going to be basically populating up here on a platform, populating a bunch of zombified piglins that are just ready to drop in. So they might be in minecarts just kind of circling around, maybe 4 or 5, maybe even 8 of them. We'll just be circling around, and as soon as one dies, a calibrated skulk sensor will send a signal up to the top saying, okay, let's release another piglin. There's a couple issues that I'm finding. I haven't designed this circuit yet, but there's a couple issues that I'm thinking through. One, I think there's a cooldown, and I have to test this, and that's part of this stream. I think there's a cooldown timer on a calibrated skulk sensor. So I think if you had like 2 deaths of zombified piglins almost one on top of the other, I think it'll only count as 1. So I might have to actually have 4 calibrated skulk sensors that are all going through like latches, you know, that will be able to calculate if we got 4 deaths within a sequence. But they have to be able to distinguish between each death. So the couple tick delay or whatever is going to be a challenge. Do you have this world on hard mode? I'm just wondering whether reinforcement spawns might be a problem. Astraea is on hard mode. That is another. Okay, I'm getting an error. Hopefully the stream is all right. I'm getting an error from YouTube. Astraea is on hard mode, and reinforcements is a concern, but I'm on the fence whether I think, okay, well, if reinforcements get sent in, which I think like 5% of zombified piglins are leaders that can spawn reinforcements. If reinforcements are sent, then it's just bad luck. You know, there's a bit of, you know, random number generation, like RNG to every mini game, to most mini games. So if you're playing and you're, you know, doing really well and you just happen to hit that 5%, you know, leader and reinforcements are spawned, well, that might not have been the record-setting run. You know, it's still a game for fun, so hopefully no one will get too bothered by that, but I don't think Astraea is open to changing from hard mode. So, good point though, Mojo. Very, very good point. So, what is this saying right now? And I'm looking at YouTube on the other. Okay, hopefully that goes away. Yeah, as long as it's fun, it's a feature. For those watching on YouTube, have you guys noticed any like weird buffering or anything? This is the first stream I'm trying to stream in what is it, 1440p, so 2K. And I'm also trying to stream with H.265, which is basically I'm using 2 encoders, you know. So okay, good. All right, good. I haven't noticed, so it's probably fine. Good. Okay. I'm just going to ignore the errors for now, and hopefully everything is cool. So, and if I continue to get errors, I'm just going to kill the Twitch stream, because no one watches on Twitch anyways. Okay, so let's get some calibrated skulk sensors. Let's see if I can just get 1 right now and see if I can actually calculate like 2 deaths that are fairly close together. The chance, because axes don't have sweeping edge, so the chance of someone to be able to kill 2 piglins at the same time is slim to none. So I think I may be overthinking the whole like cooldown calibrated skulk sensor thing. So Another thing I needed to keep in mind too is that with a calibrated skulk sensor, you know, it has a certain reach. So hopefully this thing can cover the majority, if not all of the board. Let me just build it up here. I think so. I think these guys have a pretty good range, but I haven't looked up that range in a while. So actually, let me. All right, so I'm gonna need a calibrated skulk sensor. I'm gonna need a comparator. Whoops. With a lectern, and I'm gonna need a book and quill with 15 pages. And I'm gonna need this set to page 15. Exciting content here. How's everybody's day? Been a big day for me. I released a video and I'm streaming, so I think it's the first time I've ever did that all in the same day. Riveting content, yeah, thanks, Freddie. All right, so that should do that, and then I'm just gonna do like the cheap flip-flop, T flip-flop, which is just one of these guys. All right. Okay, so if this guy gets powered, we know we at least killed one, and then if I can kill two like really, really quickly in quick succession, let me just grab a bunch, then I know I have a problem. So basically it should, yeah, let's just try to kill one first, just make sure it reaches on all corners of the board. Of course, I ended up destroying my axe, but let's just do another one of these axes. I have it close. Boom. Okay. Boom. Okay, so it detected the death. I'm pretty sure page 15 is only deaths. That's another point, is that this is actually for player deaths as well. So I have a plan for that, though. What I'm planning on doing is you'll set your spawn at the beginning of the game on a bed. Right next to the bed, I'm gonna have a pressure plate. So if you step on the pressure plate, there's gonna be another circuit that comes in and basically fries this guy. I'll probably put it on a pulse extender, just so there's no chance that this will go through. Or I could do it here too. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But it'll take this option out. Okay, let's kill one in this corner. Light should be off. Yes, we're good. We're good. We're good. Obviously, straight above it is going to be fine. So I think we're good as far as distance. Should be on. On. Okay. Cool. 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 We are making progress. So what I think I'm going to do is maybe I'll just try to do that circuit right off the bat, that player circuit. So if a player dies and I step on a pressure plate, it should shut the system off. All the organization of everything right now is just kind of, you know, just thrown together. So I might have to move things. So none of this stuff is sacred whatsoever. I'm just moving things around until I can see fit. Also, I'm doing some color coding and some non-color coding, which is probably a big no-no. But luckily with Axiom, I can just change stuff, because I do want to have things color coded, because it's going to get a little noodly, and I want to make sure I recognize, okay, like the purple or magenta line or whatever is the line for deaths, and the, you know, orange line is the line for this or whatever. I definitely need to organize myself like that, because if I don't, then I am going to be hurting. All right, so I'm not going to go all the way to the top, because I don't even know where the spawn chamber is going to be right now. Oh yeah, that's another thing that I actually got kind of arranged. So right now, these barrels are going to be the the axe pickups. So as you run through the board, you'll have an axe pickup. So right now I have it situated where there's a hopper. I don't have a dispenser above that hopper yet, but there will be another dispenser, or dropper rather. There'll be another dropper right here, right here, because that's where a hopper is located, right underneath that. Another hopper, or another dropper right here. And there's 4 pickups basically, just like the real Pac-Man. They're actually located in the exact spot in the board for the real Pac-Man. So there will be 4 pickup points, and those will contain 1 axe each at the beginning of a level, and then this clear out also clears out those barrels. So all that is kind of situated, and obviously if there's something in this comparator goes off, so you'll be able to know when it's removed because the comparator will go off, and then that will trip a circuit, and we're Bob's your uncle. Okay, so I'm not gonna go all the way to the top. I'm just gonna kind of go like maybe right here and do a pressure plate, and then let's do I have any redstone dust yet? So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the delay is going to be the key. I think I'm going to have to do a pulse extender. Or maybe I can just put this as a delay. Like if that's a 4-tick delay, then that should kill that. Yeah. The timing of it is going to be crucial. No, I think I'm going to have to... Thank you for joining the chat. It's Laura Grace. How you doing? I think the timing of it is going to have to necessitate a pulse extender. I need something that's going to last a bit just to make sure that this death, when it goes through, there's no chance that it's going to pick it up. Yeah, so I think that's going to be a necessary thing. That's not, I'm gonna have to move it back. Move it back. Boom. Laura Grace. This is my all-time favorite game. It's really the only game that I play. Right now, I am working on a mini game. I'm working on Pac-Man, essentially. So I'm gonna bring this over to an SMP that I play on called Astrea, and yeah, I'm working on all the mechanics of it. This is gonna be a long while. I'm definitely not gonna do this all on this stream. This is probably gonna be a series of streams, but essentially, yeah, here's the board, and you're going to be, the Minecraft player is going to be running through, taking out Zombified Piglins, picking up drops, and going through all that stuff. So a Pac-Man inspired game, I should say. It's not going to be Pac-Man straight up. Mojo, I'm assuming that Astrea doesn't have do immediate respawn turned on. If that's the case, then the time to the pressure plate powered is going to be arbitrary. Yeah, that's off. Yeah, thank you, Birdie. Okay, so right now, if I drop on this pressure plate, yeah, that'll definitely kill that. Okay, that'll definitely kill that. Cool. Yeah, there's no chance. No chance. All right, well, let's change this to a wooden one so I can just drop something on it, just imitating a player, and then I'll kill a piglin. And then we'll see. All right. Won't assume if you got killed by a player unless you or killed by a piglin. Okay, get over here. Get over here. You son of a. I mean, it's still on, obviously. So just obviously, there's no way. This is locked, so there's no way that it'll go through. I don't know what that test was supposed to accomplish. But yeah, there's no chance. So really, it's going to be about the timing. I have to think through this. I think it'll be fine. Because at this point, even if with the 4-tick delay, even if you killed a piglin, I don't know if I'll be able to do this timing-wise. Even if you killed a piglin, where did my eggs go? And then died. I don't think you have... Whoop, whoop, whoop. That was horrible timing. Yeah, okay, I can't remember if the light was on or off. Let's just reset that really quick. Okay. Okay, even if you killed a piglin and then died... Oh, I didn't even kill it. Okay. We're gonna kill him without touching that pressure plate. Let's move the pressure plate here. Right. Oh, it turned on. Okay, so that beats it to it. Yeah, even with a 4-tick delay. I mean, I could add just another repeater and then just have another delay, and that should beat it. Let's get rid of the pulse extender and just see if this would work without it. Oops. So that's a 4-tick. This is 2 ticks. I think that should work even without it. Oh, whoops. Let's make sure that this... Because I'm not going to remember that it was on. Okay. Boom. Yeah, I think... Well, yeah, it's going to be steady. Duh. Yeah, so unless a player, like, really quickly steps off the plate, and I'll make it so that's the only spawnable spot, or the only place that you'll, when you wake up from the bed. You know, so the bed will be completely surrounded except for this one open area. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. I think that will be totally fine. So essentially, at that point, that would also, this line would also trigger a game reset because, you know, the player died. You only have 1 life, so. All right, how many hours have you put into this so far? You seem like a pro player. Favorite game? Okay. I don't know how many hours I've put into Minecraft. Anyway, so that's good. I think that'll work. It's going to require more testing. Obviously, it's going to require player testing as well. So when I move this onto Astrea, I'm going to have to get some players to test it and what have you. But that's a fairly simple execution. And I don't see that many flaws in it. I'm just trying to think through. All right. Well, nonetheless, this will not be connecting to, you know, a T flip-flop or a copper bulb or anything. This signal, when it does go through, is going to have to add to a point value. So the way that the points are going to work is that essentially you're going to be running around picking up items, you know, that drop like right here. Let's just demo that. Redstone works best because you can see it very, very well. Just pop up. All right, so that drops perfectly centered on the light. Given that Astrea turns off its clumping, its merging of items, which is on right now, so this doesn't technically work on Astrea, but I've already talked to the server owner and hopefully we'll be able to remove that. All I really need is it to be lowered, basically that merging to be lowered to like 0.5 of a block rather than I think it's set to like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 at this point. But yeah, so there will be a bunch of these items on each copper bulb. You'll run around, you pick up all the items, and then you throw them into a hopper. I don't know where that hopper is going to be located. I'm thinking like right here in the center might be a logical place for it to be located, because the piglins have already wandered out. However, I think that might be a little unfair if you just like kill a piglin and it drops right here. I would like it to be somewhat centered, and it doesn't have to be 1 either. So maybe I have like 4 on each corner, or something along those lines. There's also these guys. There's hoppers right here that feed into this barrel, but these two don't have any hoppers. However, they're like, you know, on the that side of the board, you know, the north side of the board, so to speak. So I don't know if that's fair to always have players run up to that. That's why I was thinking center. My other thought was that you could actually run in here, and that could be a bit of a reprieve, is to have a hopper located down here in your tunnel, and then you just drop it in, and then when you want to pop back up and continue the fight, that's what you can do. But I don't know if I want like a bunch of players just hiding down there all the time. I guess I'm not going to provide any food. I'm not going to provide any way to regen other than the power-ups. So if you chose to hide down there strategically, like you pick up an axe and which will turn on the beacon for regen, and instead of fighting the piglins, you just drop down into that hole. I mean, is that a problem? Would that be, I mean, I think that would be a sound strategic approach. So, I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, so that is, those are my thoughts. If anyone has any opinions by far, please share. Right now I'm leaning toward the tunnel. I'm leaning toward having the tunnel be the drop-off area, so I could just have some like hoppers located right here, right below that, right above that calibrated skulk sensor. I could bring the calibrated skulk sensor and this like whole operation down a couple blocks. Beacon already has to move, so I might as well just do that right now. So beacon is going to move like, I don't even know. Yeah, this is my kill chamber for, I guess I could just move it here. I think it'll still reach. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. Yeah, it should still reach, right? Yeah, it's definitely gonna reach me. Not that far away. At least I hope so. Yeah, we're good. Still counting. Okay, so yeah, I'll just move the beacon over here, and that'll be kind of a little signifier that someone's playing the game, so to speak. Because I think this whole operation is going to have to be underground, or at least covered in some way where you won't be able to see that somebody's playing. Okay, so that is done. What else? Calibrated skulk sensor still needs to be centered. I think that's the safest spot for the range. So I'll bring that down. And because no one's saying anything, I'm thinking hoppers. Maybe even a hopper minecart just so it picks up faster. Located like right below here would probably be the best bet. So let's move this guy here. Okay, let's test that again to make sure that it's picking up the deaths from any corner. Hey dude, sorry, didn't mean it. Ooh, maybe not, or that seems like it shouldn't be too far away. Wow, that's crazy. Let's make sure it still works. Come here. Okay, I think I broke it from moving it. Well, let's just check. Let's absolutely confirm. Without a shadow of a doubt. Nope. Why didn't it pick it up? Oh, it's because it's on wool, you silly goose. So it didn't pick it up from underneath. All right. So maybe I'll have to put the hoppers like over here. So you run through the tunnel and they're toward the end. Let's move this back up just to absolutely confirm that is out of range. That kind of sucks. It's like dictating the terms of exactly where it needs to be. So not too much maneuverability when it comes to that guy. I can't even remember if it was on or off again. Oops. Definitely not going to turn on when you don't replace it with the right block. There we go. All right. There we go. Hey. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're golden again. Because all the corners, this is pretty sure this is a somewhat symmetrical build, so these should be the farthest corners. That should be off now. Yep, okay, we're good. Okay, so this has to be located here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This has to be located right here as far as this little guy right here. So, what do we got? Hoppers. Hoppers for point values. The other alternative is to literally put it here, like on that block, but that might look a little silly. How are you going to prevent the minecarts from picking up the items that the player is supposed to collect? Are they going to have all their slots filled? No. The player would collect... Oh, that minecart would not be going. This minecart would not be going until the game is done. This is only after the reset of a game. Or, before the start of a new game. This minecart goes to just clear up everything that's in the game. So any axes that are in barrels, anything that's left behind, say if a player only collected a couple items and then died. So it's just basically a reset device, yeah. So that is one valid point for using like this position for drops. Like if you get a bunch of items and then you just like throw them over here, or you even just like throw them down here. Obviously you can't necessarily throw them right here because that's what my slime block launch mechanism is. So it'll be more of I'm thinking more if you get down into the tunnel first, somewhere in here. But alternatively, we could have it where you drop it elsewhere. I mean, we could have it like we could break a hole like right over here, and then you could throw the items through there, and it doesn't have to be exactly Pac-Man. Or we have all these slots, like this slot. We have duplicated on this side, and we also have these unused things. So there could be like six items right there. Here's an off-the-wall idea. What if the collectible items were snowballs and you had to throw them at a target to score? It's an idea. It would be a little bit of a departure from Pac-Man, but I mean, you could just throw them at the piglin to get them off your trail or something. I don't know. Not a bad idea. The points are kind of meaningless in Pac-Man, if we're honest. It's basically just a survival game, like however long you can last until you just don't make it anymore. So in this game as well, I don't think the points are that critical. However, I do want some sort of system to calculate points. In any regard, right now I think I'm staying with the design choice of you collect items and then you drop those items somewhere in order to signify to the level that it's done. So say I don't know how many items we have. I am not going to count the dispensers right now, but all these dispensers equal one item. So I don't know, there's like 50 or so there. You get 50 items as long as you drop 50 of, there's going to be an item filter. So say if it's all redstone, I'm just making stuff up. All redstone, you get 50 redstone, you throw it in a hopper. The hopper will be connected to a counter. As soon as that counter reaches 50, then game board resets. The piglins can stay where they are, or maybe I clear them out, whatever. Doesn't really matter. More items drop, and then you collect the next 50, and the next 50, and the next 50. So that's the basic design choice. All right, what was I on to? Where is the hopper going to be located? Actually, I have a list of items. That's what I should be bringing up. List of things that I want to do. So my list is reset game. So reset game includes removing all items and killing and replacing all piglins. Now, do I need to reset the game at the end of a level? Well, at the end of a level, it's presumed that the player already picked up all the items. So that should be good. However, I do need to replace all axes that were used. So if you only use 2 out of 4 axes, I'm going to have to replace all 4 because I'm not going to be able to calculate on the fly. I guess I could technically, because if this comparator's on, then the axe wasn't used, so I can just replace the ones that the axes used, but that gets more complicated than just clearing them out and replacing all 4. Clearing them out and replacing all 4 is the easiest. Replace all piglins. So at the end of a Pac-Man level, it resets and all the ghosts reappear in the center, and then the game starts again. You know, obviously you spawn in your block again, and the whole game resets. So I think we probably want to stick to that. So my reset piglin device, which is the turtle egg, has to reset essentially. However, there's no easy way to just like kill a player. Like I'd have to like, hey Asumi, thanks for joining the chat. I'd have to get the player to kill themselves. Which hopefully YouTube doesn't ban me for saying these horrible words. Like, so at the end of a level, how, like, say Tango handled and decked out, he just dropped them into, like, this chamber where a Ravager is going to immediately kill you. So maybe, see, I don't want to leave it to chance, though, because the player's not going to know whether they picked up all the items or not, for sure. So they may make multiple runs to this hopper that I have not located yet, to drop off items. And there has to be some sort of visual indicator, whether they are close to completion of all items or if they still need to go back into the board and continue, picking up items. So I don't think killing the player is going to be an option. And I think at the end of a level. And the more I think about it, the more I think definitely not, because the whole point of this game is how long can you last? So you don't have any food, you're running around, your hunger is going to go down and down and down to the point where you can't sprint anymore, and then the piglins are going to just wipe you out. So yeah, no player kill. So that means I'm just going to have to leave the piglins on the board. At the end of a level, all I can do is just clear out all the items, which is basically the axes. That should be all that's left, is axes. Unless I just put the axes on an independent circuit. So as soon as you pick up an axe, or as soon as you pick up 4 axes, yes, that's the way to do it. As soon as you pick up 4 axes, there will be a counter, and then all 4 axes will be replaced. I think that's the easiest way. So essentially 2 separate circuits, one for all the items, which the player will be collecting and then dropping into a hopper for a counter, a point counter essentially, and then one for all 4 axes. Sorry if I'm a bit rambling, but this is the stream, so you gotta take it. All right, so back to my list. Golden Axe with Smite 5, Strength 2 Beacon. The Strength 2 Beacon will last 60 seconds, so I have to have a counter, probably an etho hopper clock, connected to the beacon, probably connected to some blocks above the beacon, so like 3 blocks here, pistons, sticky pistons that will pull back and forth on a 60-second timer. So as soon as someone picks up 1 axe, so say there's an axe here, that comparator says, yes, there's an axe here. As soon as I take that axe out, there's going to be some sort of, signal. Obviously the comparator turning off is that signal. That will then indicate to a piston down here to retract these blocks and give you, again, strength. Well, I can see it right here. Speed, resistance, regeneration, and strength. So that is, that's the easy part. And then back to the list. Axe is retrievable from shulker box. I made it a barrel, no big deal. Fine. Detect piglin death with a calibrated skulk sensor and spawn replacement. So that is actually what we need to, before we even worry about points, what we need to worry about is connecting this circuit to something up here that will drop a piglin down. As soon as this, when I was experimenting earlier, as soon as this guy goes on, there's going to be, that signal is going to be traversed up here. Which actually begs the question, maybe I should move the skulk sensor to the top. Because how many blocks down are we? Sorry, Mojo, if you had a way to detect the moment when the player has picked up all the dots to use it as a trigger at the end of the level, would you use that? Yeah, probably. But I do want to keep this vanilla. I know, Mojo, you got your data packs and everything. I do want to keep this vanilla. And you can detect items being picked up, but I think it'll just get too hectic, especially while you're killing. Okay, it is. Especially when you're killing piglins and they drop gold nuggets and swords and rotten flesh. So those, sometimes you could get like 5 items, from a single piglin kill, which will throw off the count. So I need to be able to distinguish between the point items. Yeah, I keep on using redstone dust as an example, but I'll continue to do that. The point items, the redstone dust from everything else that you could potentially pick up. Okay, so back to that. So yeah, I need to send a signal from here all the way up here to say, hey, that's gonna be a new guy. So having said that, I'm gonna try to move this guy up to the top and see if that, let's just get rid of that really quick, up to the top and see if that will still detect a kill. Did I extend it up here? No, I did not. All right. Okay. Okay, obviously it's gonna have to have room, so, whoops, this way. At least 2 blocks so I can squeeze the piglins in, and I'm gonna have to replace that wall. I hate when I do that. I hate when I left click as opposed to right click in Axiom. Sorry guys, I'm a dummy. Alright. Alright, here we go. Not that, whoa. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Should do it 2. Yes, boom. Okay. Alright, let's do the little trick again. Alright. So 2 block. Actually, I wouldn't need all this either. All I would really need, so I could bring it pretty low, because all I would really need is like right here to drop those guys in. Speaking of that, this entire platform doesn't need to be this high up necessarily. Whoop. I swear. Come on. There we go. Extended, okay. Right there. Yeah, so that's actually even a better idea. What I can do is have is lower this entire platform. If this doesn't work, I can lower this entire platform. Okay, I need to replace this with something that's not going to be soundproof for the calibrated skulk sensor, so I'm just going to replace it with copper for right now. That's also on my list. I need to decorate everything. Right now, this is obviously all temporary. Okay. Let's get a zombified piglin. Let's see if that light goes off if I kill him in the corners. No. All right, maybe I should lower this entire platform. I don't want it to feel too claustrophobic in here. But right now it is fairly high up, so I don't think it'll be too bad if I lower it a bit. There we go. 3. Let's try just 3. I did want, let's try actually just like that. I have all these ideas, all these like conflicting ideas. So I do want viewing chambers so other players can watch players play. And I was thinking like just a glass viewing chamber like right here. So there'll be a glass wall and you'll be able to see the other player running around. So I don't want to lower this too much and then basically cut it off so you won't even be able to see anything. That's not critical, it's not top priority, but it is something that I want to keep in mind. So I think right here, yeah, this doesn't feel too bad at all. This would feel fine as a ceiling. All right. Oh, come on. Well, let's just make sure it's working again. Yeah, it's definitely working. All right, darn it. All right, let's see if I can. What if I kill like right? Is it just slightly out of range? Yeah, just slightly out of range. Darn it. All right, let's bring it down again. All right, sorry. Mojo, if you had a way to detect, it is vanilla, so you could use light-weighted pressure plates and drop, say, 4 or 5 items on each, which will stack up. I was debating that. Then if the signal strength on that pressure plate is that number or greater, counted as not collected yet. Sorry, Rand, I gotta go. I'll try to keep up with all your new videos. Yeah, no problem, Stormy. No problem. Thank you so much for attending the chat. I was messing with pressure plates. The trouble with pressure plates is that piglins and players are walking over them. So, I mean, if they're lightweight, is it still? I mean, you still could get like screwed up from players and mobs walking over them, right? I think I'm gonna run into too much trouble with a pressure plate idea. That was actually my first idea, is to lay down pressure plates as opposed to anything else, and then just detect signals from them. Then I had dispensers on the ground or droppers on the ground pointing up. So, but then they just scatter objects too much, items too much, where it doesn't really make any sense. Okay. Each piglin or player only counts as 1 signal strength. Oh, so you're suggesting that I actually drop 4 or 5 items on each, which will stack up. Yeah, they'll all combine into 1. Yeah, I mean, that could work. That could work. I'd have to like hit these dispenser or droppers. I keep on calling them dispensers 4 or 5 times. But that wouldn't be too bad, I guess. Just doing like a quick. I mean, you could do that with like an observer, like a quick observer clock. Let me think about that for a bit. What would that really be solving, though? I guess because it would be solving the whole running around and having to drop items into a dropper or into a hopper. I've been saying the wrong word, sorry. Yeah, I mean, that would be a little bit more in line with Pac-Man, where it's just automatically detects that you picked up all the pellets. So, yeah, that could be a thing. So a signal strength of 1, which will stack up. So I would get. So if the signal strength on that pressure plate is that number or greater, counted as not collected yet. That number or greater. Would a pressure plate with items on top put those items out of reach for a minecart? I am not open to the idea of using commands. I want this to be able to be built on a vanilla server. That's Archer Dragon. But I appreciate any advice, because there may be ways of pulling it off without commands. Anyway, what I was saying is, if I had a hopper minecart, and then let's just corner it up and have a full block, and then add a pressure plate, lightweight pressure plate, and then I drop. I'm just gonna use my zombie eggs. Okay, yeah, they get picked up. Okay, cool. I didn't know if this hitbox would take them a little outside of the range of the hopper minecart. Okay. I mean, that's a whole new design, Mojo. I like the challenge, though. I like the thought. It's a good thought. The only thing I really hate is running around with the clicking pressure plates, if I'm honest. Click, 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 click as you run around. But I guess that's not the end of the world. My other thought, too, is actually just to run around and shut off lamps, turn on and off lamps, and then detect when a lamp was turned off. That is another thing to keep in mind, Mojo. Sorry, I'm just directly talking to one person on chat right now, but Mojo is making D&D and Minecraft, so he is light years ahead of me when it comes to the logic of these types of things. The tightness of everything. So say if I had, the same item distribution, something like this, is to detect a what do you call it? The signal strength from that tight of a quarters, I was having a lot of trouble with. Now, given maybe I need to spread things out more, maybe I need to have, a 3-block difference between each of these lights. Currently the lights are representing where the items are dropped. And maybe that'll get around things, but my original idea was to actually have buttons. So you're running around, and when you turn off all the lights, then the level resets. You got all the points. You cleared out all the pellets, so to speak. But I was having a lot of trouble detecting that all the lights were turned off without, because you can detect each one of these. These are basically T flip-flops. So if I put, I'll just show you really quick, just demo it. So if I put a comparator on this side, I can detect when it's on versus when it's off. So it's fairly simple to just detect it, but because they're one on top of each other, obviously I can't, put comparator here because 1, the board gets in the way. 2, even if I rearrange the board, this light is going to turn on that light, so that just wouldn't work. And I have a feeling the pressure plates are going to run into the exact same thing, because to get the signal strength from one of these guys, it's going to require some sort of comparator or something. So, hey, if you play some Ethos-style note block music, you won't notice the pressure plates. Yeah, that is on my list. So, really quick, going back to the list, sounds, which is the intro music, the or whatever. I can't get in my head, but definitely creating that with note blocks. That's not a big deal. There's also the music that plays, which is kind of like a siren when you have a power up. So it's like, wah, wah, wah. I'm going to do that for a minute just to signify the fact that, you have a power up and you're able to kill the piglins, Obviously, you'll be able to probably see the beacons as well, but and you'll be able to see your status bars, you'll be able to see these guys, these little whatever effect icons. All right, and then detect player death, stand on pressure plate, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so 4 piglins goes total. Piglins already angry. So that's another mechanic. I think I mentioned this at the top of the stream. So the piglins are going to already be angry because in order to enter the board, which you'll be entering right through this hole, you are going to have to encounter a piglin, and he's going to have to be in the range of those guys that are down there already. Smack him. And the piglin will probably just be in a boat. So he can't really hurt you, but you can hurt him. And I'll have to replace this piglin often because I'm sure he'll die after, numerous players play. So you smack the piglin and then drop down. So these guys will already be angry at you right when you hit the ground. Okay, so timer. I was thinking of having a timer, but the more I think about the design, I don't think it'll be necessary to have a timer. I mean, I guess you could get extra points if you completed the board really quickly, but I don't think that's really that important to the game design. So I'm skipping the timer. Maybe I'll add it at some point if it becomes like a popular thing. And if I do add it, like if people are like competitive playing the game, then maybe I'll add it. But if I do add it, I was thinking it would be like that, what is the Metro Mayhem Impulse SV Hermitcraft Season 10, where it's just dropping nuggets on a rate of ticks, connected to a simple redstone clock, and lower the nuggets the better. So it'll be like a game multiplier or something like that. Sounds, obviously. So I need the intro music. I need a music during the beacon, and I need the death music, which Pac-Man has a distinct death music. So I'm thinking of using all note blocks for all this stuff. So essentially when you die, the certain note block song will kick in, what have you. And then lastly on my list is to decorate. So I need to decorate all this up. Right now I just put copper. I don't know why I put copper. Well, I know one reason why. I want the players to have the ability to kind of see where the zombified piglins are, because in Pac-Man you have the benefit of the top-down view, which is another thing. I was debating on having a map, so the player could actually hold a map in their hand to be able to see certain things. However, redstone lamps, illumination and non-illumination, don't show up on a map. The only thing you can really dictate on a map is like block change, like swapping, like doing a flip-flop, so a block comes in and comes out, or water. So I kind of scrapped that whole idea. If anybody has another idea of like how you could see like the zombified piglins in a bit of a top-down view, then let me know. Hey Sam, thanks for joining the stream. Just to catch you up really quick, I'm building Pac-Man for Astrea. It's a vanilla Minecraft-ified version of Pac-Man, so I have a lot of game decisions, a lot of design decisions to make, but the crux of it is that it's going to be similar to Pac-Man. Okay, so what were we on? Pressure plates. Pressure plates versus, so this is Mojo's idea, versus the current way, which is, the current design is basically droppers drop items to the center of these lights. When all the lights are on, that means the game is ready to be played, and when all the lights are off, that means the game is being reset. To the center of the lights, the player runs around, collects all those items, and then has to drop those items into a hopper in order, or you know, put them in a barrel, whatever. That's not important, but in order for them to get calculated. However, that does differ. There's a discrepancy from real Pac-Man to this, and the closer I can get to real Pac-Man, I think the better for design choices. Because real Pac-Man, when you clear out all the pellets, game resets. That's it. Like level 1 goes to level 2. However, with the distribution of lights and, you know, the franticness of how things are picked up and everything, I think it's going to be very difficult to just calculate the fact that you've picked up every single item. So Mojo threw out this idea, Mojo Beast on YouTube chat right now, threw out this idea of pressure plates, lightweight pressure plates that can detect a signal strength of like 4 or 5 or whatever. You know, all the items, all the like items will clump together in the center. If I basically, it's the same idea. I'll just drop these out of a dropper, but I'll kick it like 5 times or whatever. And then when all of those items are picked up, the pressure plate obviously will release, thus counting as a cleared spot. And then when all the pressure plates, which I don't even know how many, there'd be like 50 or something, when all of them are clear, then automatically level reset. Sorry, I snapped there. Can't see me, but I snapped. Wherever you're storing the piglins, you could have a bunch of head items, helmets, pumpkins, take your pick so people can better see them. Yeah, I'm going to pop, I was planning on popping jack-o'-lanterns on their heads anyways, just so they don't despawn. When they're angry, they're not going to despawn anyways, but just, you know, because I'll have them probably kind of high up over here or something. Well, now that I changed the location of that calibrated sensor, maybe I can't have them that high up, but anyways, you know, I'll have like a grouping of them, and I just didn't want any chance of them despawning, so I was planning on having jack-o'-lanterns on them when they're, basically the plan is I will spawn them in the nether, I will transport them from the nether on a minecart into the board, you know, above the board, in which case, right when I spawn them and they enter a certain chamber in the nether, I slap a jack-o'-lantern on their head, move them into this, say it's right here, move them here, have them in minecarts or whatever, some way that I can easily disperse them. It could even just be water, in all honesty. So easily disperse them into here, and then when they drop down, they're ready to fight you. But they only drop down when you kill one, because when you kill one, the next ghost resets in Pac-Man. That mechanic, at least I have like straightened out. I just have to like execute, you know, with the calibrated sculk sensor and everything. The core mechanic that I don't have fully designed yet is what I'm talking about with Mojo right now, which is pressure plates versus hopper drops versus whatever. So, yeah. Yeah, another thing too, Birdie, to that point, as far as storing the piglins and have them with a bunch of head items or whatever, we could also turn on hitboxes, and you can kind of see them from a little bit farther. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. It's vanilla and everything, so in Java at least. That's an option. I'm not too concerned with that aspect of the game though. Like, and just to illustrate what I'm talking about, guys. So, say I got a bunch of piglin. And say I'm over here. In Pac-Man, you'd be able to see that there's ghosts over there. Here, you can kind of see, but it's not that well. But I mean, that's kind of, I don't know, I think that's kind of fun. You know, you're in a bit of a maze, and these guys are going to be chasing you. Here, let me just keep on game mode at survival. Whoops, at self-survival. What am I doing? Jeez. Duh. Okay. Game mode survival. So when I hit these guys, jeez, oh god, they're fast. I mean, they track you down, and they even move like, kind of like the ghosts, you know, as far as this, they'll start splitting and dividing, and it's a challenge. And I think the 3D aspect is actually serves the game well, serves the mechanic well. I'm surprised they broke off, actually. Oh. See? Just like Pinky. They go the wrong way. Where'd those other guys go? They keep on falling in my little teleport. Oh, jeez. I'm dead. I'm dead. Doesn't take that much. Yep. Okay. All right. So that's it illustrated. Given you will be under strength and regen, but it actually doesn't help you as much as you think it would. All right. What are we doing? Let's just... Okay. All right. Would glass work better if you worried about visibility? Glass does work a little bit better, and yeah, it would ruin the aesthetic a little bit, but I'm thinking that might be the case. Is to do glass. I don't think it looks that bad. The whole decorating is part of my is on my list of things to do. But yeah, back to my original thing, and that's the reason that I even laid it out this way. Is just I love copper grates, so I was just like, oh, I'll use copper grates so you can kind of see across. But I don't think the visibility is high enough. So I mean, really, let's just. I mean, it could just be like basic glass, or it could be like tinted glass or something like that. But yeah, that would work really well. You'd be able to see them a mile away. Let's just replace it on this side of the board and spawn a couple. I don't think it changes or makes the aesthetic too bad either. All right, so if you're over here, oops, where'd there's my eggs. Oh yeah, that would work perfect. Yeah, just using glass. You'd be able to see them all the way across the board. Well, that's easy to do while we talk. Yeah, and I could mix and match, exactly. Even do like, for corner bits, do a certain color, or do the tinted glass or whatever. And if you have connected textures like I do, then it actually turns out pretty cool. Over here. I think that's it. Yeah, that'll be good. I think that'll be really good. Yep, you can definitely see who's about to kill you. I could make this look aesthetically pleasing too. For one, like it could be 3-eye. So then this line won't be in your face. And that could be a cool effect on it upon itself. And this could technically be glass too, but then you can see all the redstone bits, which might, I don't know, that might be kind of cool. Then you can't even see where the heck you're going, though. That might be a little, a little too much of a challenge. But that could work. I mean, not being able to see through copper grates at some point might just be a skill issue. True. I do think the copper grates do look the best, but this would fit the gameplay of Pac-Man the most, which is being able to actually see where the ghosts are and wind your way around. So I'm gonna leave this as is for a bit, and then I'll, play with the idea, and then we'll go from there. All right, back to the thing at hand. So, what's everyone's thoughts? Okay, sorry, Mojo. The slightly annoying news is that when items stack up, they count as a single entity. So you'd need to have several items that don't stack. No. Now we're getting crazy, Mojo. Now we're getting crazy. Not to mention, I'm still not sure how I'm going to be able to pull the signal strength specifically out of the block or out of the pressure plate when the blocks are so close together. I think I'd have to change the design of the game so there's 3 separation between each light. In which case, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it does. I don't know. It makes it a little less Pac-Man-y, because you're not right on top of each other. Of course, collecting a bunch of items and then dropping them in a hopper is also a little less Pac-Man-y. So, yeah, I'm on the fence. What does everybody else think? What's your opinion? So here's the debate. Do we pick up all the items and then drop them into a hopper? And it doesn't have to be one hopper. It could be like multiple hoppers that are located in certain parts of the board. Or do we have some sort of automatic detector that right when you've picked up all the items, the level knows, it's okay, level's done, reset. What is everyone's thoughts? And if it's the latter, if everyone prefers the latter, what is your solution to automatically detecting 50 items being picked up or whatever it is? That is the conversation, which is pretty important, obviously, because that. And let me again repeat kind of some of the ideas that I've had that I've been pondering over as far as the whole pellet pickup idea and point counting and what have you. So my first thought was putting a button on each one of these lights. You run around, you're just clicking buttons. Right when all the lights are off or on, doesn't really matter, the order. Level resets. The trouble with that is, again, to calculate whether a light is off or on, you have to use a comparator. So you're already 2 blocks wide. In which case, because the lights are so close together, there's just no way for me to have a comparator on each one of these circuits. It's just not going to happen. And again, I think that's the issue with the latter part too. What if you have observers facing up with a yellow carpet in the top, and like that with a map you could see which ones have you missed, since it would update from a yellow pixel to a grayish black pixel. We have observers facing up. Okay, sorry. So Mojo said the signal strength thing is easier than you might think because pressure plates emit redstone signals directly, and you can group them together in 4s. So I'd have to put a comparator on 4, so what your idea would be is that, say, here, let's just move it over here just to kind of demo it. So say each one of these 4, where'd my pressure plates go? Over here. So each one of these 4, I have to do that one more time. Okay, has a pressure plate. So they're still only 1 apart. So maybe I'm detecting a signal from a block underneath, possibly. And I'm grouping those into 4. So it'd be something along the lines of dust. Like that, and then the comparator would be coming out this side. Is that the thinking? Where'd my comparator go? Like that. So I step on, no, I can't pull it out of that. So I'd have to pull it. I'd have to pull it out of that, right? So presuming this would be like one, yeah. So if I had all right, or from underneath. Okay, sorry. Archer Dragon, I'm losing your, okay, facing up, and maybe all the observers are connected to a dispenser with a chain of droppers, and there will be a counting system. When all dispensers are activated, the game ends. Or from underneath. Ooh, no, you just, Archer Dragon, you just had me thinking maybe my button thing would be, why didn't I think of that? Thank God I'm on, thank God I have chat. No, because my original idea was to use the buttons. You're running around with buttons, but instead of trying to calculate, you know, doing a comparator and calculating each one of these lights, you know, basically having like a comparator right here, and then you push the button on top of that, and then this comparator goes off. Instead of bothering with that, I could just literally connect this to a dropper, and each one of the droppers has an item in it. However, that wouldn't stop players from spamming it. So I'd have to make sure that each dropper only has one single item in it. And then you run around, you push the button, it drops the item. Actually, then I could just use pressure plates. I could just stick to just pressure plates. You're just running around on top of pressure plates. And as soon as you cover all the board, then you're done. As soon as you touch every pressure plate. It sucks for signifying. That's what I like about the items, is that when you signify, or you know when you've picked up an item, because the item is not there, you know. A pressure plate obviously could turn on, it could turn on the lamp. However, if a player or a mob, you know, another piglin walks over this, then it's just going to turn off the lamp. And that sucks about the pressure plate, is like it's so big, like you can barely even see that this lamp is on. Given I don't have to, I could use a brighter lamp, you know, it doesn't have to be this like fully oxidized lamp, or lantern rather, or bulb. However, you're going to still run into the problem where, you know, you think all your lights are on, but piglin's running around. That's why I sided with the buttons in the first place. Because for one, you know, mobs can't push buttons, so you're just running around basically kicking all the buttons, and as soon as all your lights are on, then you're done. So yeah, presuming that it's buttons, you run around, you have a dropper connected. Actually, I don't even think I'd need, let me just clear this out really quick. I don't even think I'd need anything other than the dropper, because an item's gonna drop out of that obviously right when I kick this button. Boom. And then I could have just water streams collecting everything. Or hoppers, you know, it doesn't really matter. That is such a super simple design. Archer Dragon, I owe you a beer. I don't know how old you are, but if you're not old enough to drink. Charging the droppers is the easy part. I have enough room for hoppers. So I'll just do a hopper chain, and then like lock and unlock them, or some sort of, that I think is an easier thing to solve for, basically. Long and short of it, I think is resetting all the droppers with hoppers. Because I could do something along the lines. I mean, it's not an insurmountable task. Like I think it's possible that I could do it. So obviously, I'm thinking like the spam problem. I'm thinking through the spam problem. Like if I just filled these guys chock full, I could lock them as soon as you turn on the bulb. Is that possible? Would the reset system be easy to implement with the single item dropper system? I don't know, Sam. That's what I'm trying to think. Like, it wouldn't be these rails, obviously. That wouldn't work. I mean, I guess I could just change the rails around. Huh. Like, if I had a chain of hoppers like this, that wouldn't work. It would have to be something like this, and then like this or something. And then I'd have to be able to lock these guys. Lock or unlock. Not necessarily, though. I could actually have... Let me think here. I could have droppers beneath that are feeding from up, and that might give me a little bit more room. Probably not, though. I'm still going to run into the same design choice. Could you have individually named items for each bulb and have an item filter for each individually named item? The footprint might get pretty large, though. I don't know, because then it would still, I think, be the same problem. One, I have to get those items back in the dropper after you've extracted them, so I only see two options there. Either one, having only one item, or two, somehow turning off the dropper. Oh, I could just move the dropper down with a piston. As soon as this guy powers on, because this is a quasi-connectivity, then I have to turn off the freaking bulb. Darn it. What I'm saying is like quasi-connectivity if the piston pulled. Let's see. If a piston pulled this guy open. Oops. There we go. If I power this piston, oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, if this is on, and I power this piston. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, I thought it was going to stay up because this is actually giving off power. Let's. Nope. Well, I can't even move a dropper. It's got an inventory. What am I even saying? What an idiot. Idiot. Observer, though, I can move. So if, like, I took Archer Dragon's original thing and had an observer there that would actually feed into the hopper or dropper, then I can move that, obviously. But then I'm going to run into the same thing because I can't move it up and down. I need to move it sideways, and then I'm running into the tube space. A lot of signs are pointing to the fact that maybe I don't do a single block in between each pickup. Maybe I should do 3 blocks. Because then there's a lot more options. The copper bulb isn't actually emitting redstone power. Oh, it's not? Oh, it's just, oh yeah, you're right. Not unless it's actually being powered. You're right. It doesn't matter anyways, because I was being a fool and trying to move a tileable entity, which obviously cannot be done in Java. Anyway. This, I think, is closer to a solution, even with the buttons. Not a super fan. I don't think this is like the best thing ever, running around clicking buttons, but I do think it's a little bit closer to like the Pac-Man vibe than anything yet that we've talked about. Oh, you've had this issue before, Archer Dragon? Okay. Yeah. Such a common issue. All right, so items in dropper. You run around, you click the bulb item drops. How do we get them back in the dropper? Thingy. We have like another dropper underneath. And that's actually the one that's counting everything. Like, I wouldn't mind, let me just state this really quick. So these guys up here, I was always planning on, I'm gonna have to run around and refill these guys, This is back in the design idea where you drop an item, So obviously I have 9 inventory slots, 64, that would be enough. And then when they're empty, I'll just run around and refill them. It's not that dissimilar to like Tango and Decked Out. You got to run around and refill, a bunch of droppers and what have you. I don't really mind that. So if this dropper was manually filled, you click the button once, this guy is empty. Presuming at the beginning of the game, this guy's empty. And I could definitely make sure this guy's empty because I could run this kind of rail track thing like I was doing here and clear out the dropper. So this guy kicks one in, and then somehow, even if you click this button multiple times, I'm only going to count that one. I'm only going to count the first one. That, I think, could be something. Could you have a water stream below to drop the items into that would have all collect into one chest? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Sam, is that I could either have a hopper chain or just collect them through a water stream. The problem that I'm running into logically is you as a player of this game could just sit here and go, probably wouldn't be the best use of your time, but you could just click this over and over. And, presuming this is full, and again, if there's only one item, then how do I get that one item in at the beginning of the game? Actually, I could just drop the item through. I could. Okay. I just dropped the item through powdered snow, so it's perfectly aligned onto a block that has a pressure plate. That block, it doesn't matter how many you drop through. If it's on, it's a binary thing. If it's on, it counts as 1. If you drop 5 items, counts as 1. It doesn't matter. So basically I calculate all of these guys. So there's 50 total, and I just add up the power or whatever level. I could just do them per line too. I could just like have one line at the end. It's like a giant AND gate or something. So this guy could be plumb full. It doesn't really matter, and you could spam it. All you're going to do is just waste your time because you're not going to get more than the 1 point that this is going to calculate. The powdered snow is just there to align the item, by the way. Oh, there is another way to read the state from a copper bulb that isn't a comparator. Oh, really? Okay. Can you have 2 droppers facing into each other? The top dropper is powered by the pressure plates, then have the bottom dropper set up for the reset system. Yeah, that's definitely possible. I was thinking through that logic a few minutes ago where essentially you're exchanging things. However, I think you're still running into a problem with counting things up. Okay, so Mojo, what are you making? Oh, wait. Okay. Sculpt Scholar, I am making Pac-Man in vanilla Minecraft. I'm going to port this over as my next minigame in Astraea. So essentially it's this is the Pac-Man board, which player will spawn right here. Zombified Piglins are your ghosts. They will spawn right here. and you have to run around. I'm not sure exactly what you're gonna have to do yet, because that's what we're talking about design-wise, but you're gonna have to run around, either turn off all these lamps, turn on all these lamps, pick up a bunch of items, what have you, and avoid these piglins who are going to be angry and trying to eat your face. Upon success of turning on all the things or collecting all the items, you will reset the board, and then have to do the whole thing over again. All the while, if you these barrels will contain Smite 5 golden axes. If you pick up a golden axe, you will kick on a Strength 2 beacon, which is right behind you, right here. This also has regen and health, so you will, or resistance, regen, and strength, and speed for that matter. You will kick on those beacons, thus giving you the ability to actually attack back at the piglins, and with a Smite 5 and Strength 2, you'll be able to one-shot these guys. But when you kill the piglins, more piglins will spawn and drop, just like Pac-Man. So it just gives you a temporary reprieve. They'll still be angry at you. You're just basically resetting the board, and you're getting more points. So the points will be calculated on how many lights that you turn on, and or items you pick up, and how many guys you kill. So that is the game in a nutshell. All right, back to chat. Try this arrangement: facing down, copper bulb, observer, sticky piston, redstone, air, copper bulb. Facing down. Okay, where was it? Where was the corner that I was working on? Is it this corner? Yeah, this corner. All right, so what do you mean? So facing down, copper bulb. Okay, so observer would be the next thing, but the observer is facing down. Why do I keep on turning on? All right, so the observer would be sticky piston. Let's go grab one. Over here. Boom. This is when I was getting the quasi. Okay, with the sticky piston would be facing up like that, right? Would it be like that? Redstone. Then air. So what am I doing here? Am I just failing to communicate? All right, so facing up, powered down. All right, okay. Okay, yeah, so that'll kick off the observer. So then I would just be going up by the position of the observers. And then this would be the reset. No, I can't reset it because that guy's... God darn it. Why did I do that? Or I'd have to spit it out probably, right? So I'd have to do a 1 tick pulse. Okay, is the stream cutting out? It's because I'm trying to, Sam, I'm streaming in a 1440p with 2 different codecs, so that's my fault. I think this is going to be more of an excuse to ditch Twitch. I was trying to stream in a higher resolution to YouTube, but that's requiring me to basically encode 2 streams at the same time rather than use the same stream and send it. What if they dispense water? If you click it 2 times, it resets the way you test it by connecting all streams. And if the water's completely shut off, a mob stops floating and deactivate a tripwire. Well, the water idea isn't a bad idea, though. Actually, the powdered snow could be a really good idea, because you could actually just... a dispenser, powdered snow, I could just literally send a redstone signal through the entire line. Like this. Of course I Why did I do that? Dispenser, please. Okay, jeez. Okay, dispenser. Powdered snow. I could quite literally. Where's one of these guys? Just do this all the way through. Oh, you can't. Really? 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 Ah, powdered snow, you disappoint me. I thought you could send a redstone signal through powdered snow. Oh, switching it from day to night. Yeah. Yeah, just something that actually switches. Something that has an on and off state. Yeah, that's a good idea. Is that going to carry through? I think you have to actually click that to click. Yeah, I don't think just powering it will turn it on and off. Oh, you mean like maybe like replacing the bulb with that? Where you do that? Because that's just basically the same thing as what I have going on. Where is it? I can't believe powdered snow doesn't. That's so stupid. Through. Or a redstone signal through. Mojo, your idea I don't think was bad. That could work as well. So basically I'm pushing an observer via a sticky piston down. And as soon as it's down, obviously, then that's it. Then I send a signal through to push it back up. Yeah, I don't think that's a... So, like that, and then... Alright, I need to clear my inventory. There's too much junk. Alright. Like that. That's your design. So I'd have to power it from like here, right? Nope. I have to power it right here to reset it. And it'd have to be a 1-tick pulse to spit it out. Yeah, trying to think of a way. Exactly, that's what I'm trying to think too. Like something that could hit this with a 1-tick pulse to reset it is the trouble. The ideal thing would be a way of using observers to sync the state of copper bulb with the position of a redstone block. That was actually another idea that I had, which was your circuit here, but I would actually have two like this. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. And then I'd have one here, so I'd start, not here. Actually, one like this. So it would actually be facing the way that you said before. And then I power this guy. You know, to reset it. But that's not really gonna fix the, I mean, the whole thing of like kicking this button. It's not gonna do jack. That's not gonna help anything. But that was an idea for my reset circuit for a little while. I don't know if that gets anyone ideating over anything. Oh, jeez. Okay, back to some Archer Dragon, like the idea with the water. I mean, that might be something. There's also like tripwires, like we're detecting. That's another thing too, is like this. My original circuit, when I had the kick them on and off idea, was to literally just push a block back and forth. Because again, I can run a line, you know, through all these guys, all in a row. So when you push this button, it just displaces this, and then that's how somehow I calculate it, maybe from running a line this way. However, as soon as I run a line through, that piston's gonna kick again, which I guess, I mean, wouldn't be the end of the world necessarily, because yeah, it kicks before this guy can have a chance to fire though, right? Or did I just miss it? Turn that off. Turn that off. Oh no, it did. It fired. Yeah, that could potentially work. That to calculate. Yeah, I'd need that to calculate the points. That's where I run into problems. Is that when I'm pushing through there, and then that's going to reset as well. Oh no, it won't. Because it's already powered. Well, would it be powered though? That's the problem. That's the problem. All right, say this is off. And that's yeah, that's not gonna work. That is not gonna work, because that would have to be on. Yeah, that would have to be on in order to calculate it. Or it'd be a pulse that gets sent through, but then as soon as that I think maybe the copper bulbs aren't the right solution because they are T latches rather than RS latches. Yeah. There's no way to reset the machine and guarantee they'll all be the state you want. There's a solvable problem. That's a solvable problem. You can use a couple of slime blocks to avoid powering and QC. Oh, quasi connectivity. Then you can just use a redstone block rather than a stone block. New idea. Use an observer that looks at the copper bulb and activates a piston down, and then you can run your line of redstone. Yeah, we were just trying that. A very similar thing. Yeah, redstone block. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So okay, let me go back to Mojo's. You can use a couple of slime blocks to avoid powering. Like instead of there, I would use a slime block here. And then this would be a redstone block. That kind of thing. this, if I power this, if I didn't use redstone blocks, no, because redstone, the slime would be conductive as well. God darn it, where's my, are you kidding me? Yeah, that's not gonna work. Honey block isn't conductive. Where's this thing getting power from? Oh, duh. Maybe have the redstone lines be 1 block higher. These redstone lines? But that wouldn't... That wouldn't send power through though. Alright, so reset. Move power through that. Well, this reset doesn't actually have to, because reset would be on everything. So reset could be technically, you could reset 2 lines at once, is what I'm getting at. I also don't need to use glazed terracotta for this. I'm just messing around here, just trying to think of a solution to this problem, obviously. Nope, 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 nope. This would be a whole lot of observers. Yeah, that wouldn't work either. Is it more than 15 blocks to the edge of the grid? Yes, I think it is. Yeah, definitely. All right, it's 7:53, guys, and I usually only stream for an hour and 40, so I think we're gonna have to reconvene next week. I'm gonna probably crunch on this for a bit, but I think we're close. Item pickup and then drop into a hopper is probably not the most Pac-Man-esque. Can't believe these guys haven't despawned. Pac-Man-esque approach. So buttons, pressure plates, I think are. I'm gonna revisit these. Obviously, this is my original idea, and I think this might be the winning idea. I just have to solve this circuit. It's very compact and pretty much a pain in the butt. So. But I think there is a way to solve it. I just have to solve it. So next week, let's chat. By all means, this is a lot of fun, and you guys had really, really good ideas. So hopefully, I don't disappoint you, and I can execute the ideas. Catch you guys next week. I just published a new episode, Astraea episode 15 on my YouTube channel, so please take a look at that as well. It's basically a lot of terraforming and road building and stuff like that, but it's interesting nonetheless if you're interested in that kind of thing. So thank you so much, and Mojo, I know it's really late for you, so thank you so much for sticking around the stream, and thank everybody for sticking around. So yeah, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.